Are you a gardener in North and South Carolina? The Schiele Museum's Farm, sponsored by the Gaston County Farm Bureau, provides a great blueprint for plants that thrive in the Piedmont region. If you're ready to start planting, here are some varieties that will thrive when they're planted in late winter or early spring. They'll be ready late spring, early summer. So one of the best vegetables that you can start with in late winter, early spring are actually onions. So onions were originally domesticated in Iran and Pakistan around 5,000 years ago. So there's two varieties. There's the big bulb onion like this, and these take up to 1 to 2 years to grow. So if you start a seed in September, it'll have to grow over winter, the next summer, over winter, and then it'll be ready the next spring and be about this size. If you want to go a little bit faster, you can actually buy onion sets, which are onions that are already 1 year old. Plant them and they'll be ready in about 6 months. Green onions, on the other hand, can be planted in the spring or late winter and grown and will be ready in just about 2 to 3 months. All right. So onions are really, really awesome because they're a very versatile vegetable. They can be cooked, very savory, and they're also very, very sharp flavor. And they're actually not a root vegetable. So they're actually modified leaves and stems that store the energy of the plant. So you can see the roots down here. So it's basically just really fat leaves. So the next winter crop are actually potatoes. So potatoes are originally from Peru and Bolivia in South America, and they were domesticated around 10,000 years ago. So potatoes here in the Piedmont region can be started about mid-February through early March. So you'll take them, you'll chit them, which means you'll place them in a warm place near a window, and they'll actually turn green and start growing little sprouts. And once the sprouts are only about 1/4 to 1/2 inch long, you'll take the potato, cut it into sections, making sure each section has at least 2 little eyes or little stems that are growing. And then you'll plant them, cover them about 2 inches worth of soil or 4 to 6 inches worth of old hay. Hay and straw are the best in my opinion. And then they'll just sit there and they'll grow. And if it frosts, it'll kill them to the ground, but they'll come back really well, grow very well. And then potatoes grown here in North Carolina or South Carolina Piedmont region will actually be ready about July 4th. And the best way to tell if potatoes are ready is when the tops of the plant start to turn yellow and die. And here in North Carolina, South Carolina, that's around the 4th of July. And potatoes are a very, very versatile vegetable. They can be baked, hash browns, French fries, baked potatoes, all kinds of ways. So very, very awesome, very, very good for you. Have all kinds of good nutrients, minerals, and lots of energy. And they're actually a modified stem. So they're not a root vegetable. So they're just, think of really chubby stems that grow under the ground to store energy for the plant. And that's what we eat. All right, so the next vegetable we'll actually be talking about is cauliflower, or all like cabbage family crops. So this right here are collard greens. So this plant and this plant are the exact same species. So when I say that, think of like dogs, how many different versions of dogs are. We have cauliflower, we have collards, cabbage, broccoli, they're all the same plant. So these plants were all domesticated in Central Europe around 3,000 years ago. And then there's the Asian strain, which is like pak choi, tat soy, Napa cabbage, which was domesticated around 6,000 years ago in Asia. So all of these crops are grown very, very similar. So they have to be started about late January, early February, indoors or in a greenhouse, protected from the cold. And they do very, very well, being transplanted about 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost. Or you can direct seed them right about 4 to 6 weeks before the last frost. And they do very, very well, and they'll be ready about early summer. So one issue with this vegetable in particular is cauliflower. It's the diva of the group. It does not like cold, it does not like dry, it does not like hot. So it has to have perfect conditions. So the humble garden pea, so snow, sugar snap, or English style peas are a very, very good vegetable to start late winter, early spring. So these vegetables actually are from the Fertile Crescent, so kind of Iraq, Iran area. And they were domesticated around 11,000 years ago, but we actually have evidence that people were eating peas or their relatives around 46,000 years ago. So we actually have plaque from Neanderthal teeth that has little peas in it from Shanidar Cave in Iraq. So a very, very old vegetable, very, very important for people throughout history. To have success with these, they need to be planted fairly early, so mid-March. Wouldn't push it much past early April, because if they grow and it gets too hot, it can encourage disease and also can make sugar snap varieties very, very woody and not very palatable. But these are a very, very good crop, high protein, lots of good nutrients, and they're delightful in stir fries or in salads. So the last vegetable we will be talking about today are actually carrots. So carrots are one of the more adaptable of the winter vegetables, so they can actually be grown year-round with special care. But carrots are originally from Central Asia, and they were originally yellow or purple. So the orange carrot that we know and love from today actually didn't appear until they were grown in Europe in the 15 and 1600s. So a very, very recent color change. And it was just a fad. Everybody liked orange better than purple and yellow, I guess. But really, really cool vegetables, very versatile, can be cooked, savory, stews, everything. So a very, very good vegetable. And these are actually a true root crop, unlike potatoes and onions. So this is the root, and then the stem actually grows up here. So this is just like potatoes and onions, a storage vessel for the plant. Now, carrots can be difficult to grow here in the Piedmont due to our heavy clay soils. So there's a few ways to get around this. So you can either use raised beds like this and add loose soil inside, or you can take a garden fork and loosen the soil up to about 11 inches and add tons of compost. And that way the carrots will have nice loose soil, able to get the roots in the ground and grow very well. And carrots can actually be planted from late winter all the way up till fall. So you can plant them midsummer if you plant the seeds and water them very well and cover them with a board and protect them. Carrots can take up to 2 weeks to germinate, so kind of have to be patient with them. But once you see them starting to sprout underneath the board, you can take the board off, water them very well, and water them frequently in the summer, and you can have wonderful carrots all summer long, unlike all the rest of these vegetable crops that are grown in late winter. So thank you to the Gaston County Farm Bureau for their support of the farm here at the Schiele Museum. Get more information by visiting schielemuseum.org.